The galaxy had long underestimated humanity, assuming that Earth was a minor backwater planet, full of primitive creatures who could barely handle interstellar communication. But the Xelorian armada that now approached the Sol system carried all the arrogance of a species convinced of its superiority, expecting an easy campaign that would pacify a world with minimal effort. Their ships vast and elegant, bristling with weapons that had crushed countless other civilizations, and yet as their first reconnaissance probes passed Mars' orbit, subtle anomalies began to appear in the readings. Strange energy patterns that suggested the humans' technology was far more sophisticated than anyone had imagined, a hidden depth masked by deliberate restraint and careful secrecy, traits the aliens misread as backwardness, weakness, or naivety, and when the first Xelorian attack drones entered orbit, they encountered resistance unlike anything their simulations had predicted, as Earth's orbital defense grids activated with perfect coordination, using adaptive systems and automated drones to neutralize lasers and disrupt targeting arrays, while humans on the surface managed a network of electromagnetic defenses that scrambled communications and disabled smaller craft. And yet the humans did not strike outright, instead allowing the alien vessels to advance just enough to gather data on their attack patterns and weaknesses, a calm patience that unknowed the Xelorian commanders as they realized their assumptions had been wrong from the start. And as the hours passed, the humans revealed orbital ships capable of rapid atmospheric and interstellar maneuvering, far ahead of the alien intelligence estimates, executing precise strikes against supply vessels and navigational systems while avoiding unnecessary destruction. A deliberate display of both power and control that shattered the aliens' expectation of human simplicity, and on Earth, military leaders coordinated with orbital fleets and underground facilities, feeding live data into advanced algorithms that predicted the Xelorians' every move, turning their aggression into an advantage, while simultaneously demonstrating restraint, neutralizing threats without annihilation, a strategy that the alien admirals could not understand and had no protocols to counter. And as the first day of conflict drew to a close, energy arrays illuminated the skies in complex geometric patterns, a silent yet overwhelming signal of humanity's preparedness and unity, causing panic among the Xelorian forces who realized that every human action had been both reactive and preemptive, a web of strategy, coordination, and ingenuity that no species they had ever faced could match. While below the surface, engineers monitored every weapon discharge, trajectory, and energy reading, feeding simulations that generated optimal responses in real time. And by the second day, alien ships were beginning to falter, some retreating, others disabled by tactics that relied on adaptation rather than brute force, leaving the commanders in shock as they recognized the full scope of their miscalculation. The humans had been quietly preparing for this moment for generations, blending technology, morality, and strategy into an unstoppable combination, and while the Xelorians struggled to adjust, the humans continued to demonstrate that their strength was not only in weapons or ships but in coordination, foresight, and a willingness to protect themselves and others, an ethical and tactical depth that left the aliens scrambling to comprehend what they had so confidently assumed was an easy conquest. And as the first true engagements ended with Earth's orbital supremacy intact and alien morale faltering, the message to the galaxy was unmistakable. Humanity, far from being an easy target, had the capacity to outthink, outmaneuver, and outlast even the most arrogant of interstellar powers, and every misstep the Xelorians had made in underestimating them would now have consequences that would echo across the stars, signaling that a new, unforeseen force had emerged, one that would not be dismissed or conquered without paying tremendous price. As the Xelorian fleet regrouped after its first failures, a creeping sense of dread began to infiltrate the alien command, a realization that their calculations had been fundamentally flawed and that the humans they had so easily dismissed were not only technologically advanced but astonishingly strategic, capable of turning every aggressive maneuver into a trap or countermeasure. And while the aliens debated their next course of action, human forces had already begun the next phase of their defensive strategy, deploying stealth craft and modular drones that moved silently through space, gathering intelligence and subtly disabling key systems on the larger enemy vessels, demonstrating a mastery of electronic warfare that the Xelorians had never imagined. As the humans studied every weapon discharge, every formation adjustment, and every communications relay, they identified patterns and created adaptive responses almost instantly, a network of decision-making that functioned as if every human commander was both observing and predicting simultaneously, and on Earth, Scientists and engineers worked alongside military tacticians in a seamless collaboration, coordinating orbital strikes, surface-based defense systems, and newly revealed ships capable of extreme maneuverability. The humans did not rush to destroy the alien fleet, but instead applied precise, calculated pressure, neutralizing threats while maintaining their own operational integrity, a measured approach that left the Xelorian admiral frustrated and confused, unaccustomed to an enemy that combined patience with overwhelming capability. And while the aliens struggled to adapt, humanity revealed its ability to coordinate multiple layers of defense and offense simultaneously, using both kinetic weapons and electromagnetic pulses to disable ships, create confusion in alien ranks, and manipulate the battlefield with an elegance and efficiency that spoke of decades, if not centuries, of preparation and refinement. While simultaneously deploying a psychological strategy, human broadcasts and energy display projected a calm confidence and unshakable control that disoriented the aliens and eroded morale, emphasizing that humans were not reckless, but precise, patient, and far more dangerous than any initial encounter had suggested. And as skirmishes continued, it became evident that the humans had anticipated nearly every possible counterattack, turning every attempted Xelorian maneuver into a situation where they could respond, neutralize, or exploit, showing a mastery of space combat that blurred the line between technology and strategy. And this realization sent shockwaves through the alien fleet, commanders questioning every assumption, every prior engagement, struggling to comprehend how a species they had underestimated could orchestrate such complex and effective operations while maintaining cohesion and minimal losses. And as humans coordinated strikes against supply vessels and communication satellites, they not only disabled critical enemy infrastructure, but left a trail of precision that underscored their ability to control the flow of the conflict entirely, a demonstration of dominance without the need for wanton destruction, emphasizing that humanity's power was as much about restraint and intelligence as it was about raw technological capability. And while the Xelorians attempted to adapt their fleet formations and attack patterns, human forces anticipated these changes, using predictive algorithm combined with instinctive tactical judgment to counter every initiative, with stealth drones slipping through gaps in alien defenses to disrupt engines, sabotage weapons, and sow confusion, and orbital platforms raining precise energy strikes on key capital ships without causing collateral damage to the surrounding sectors. A level of control and foresight that the Xelorian commanders had no framework to comprehend, and on Earth, leaders monitored each engagement in real time, adjusting strategies not for panic or reaction, but for long-term advantage, recognizing that every alien misstep could be turned into leverage for humanity, as every maneuver the Xelorians executed played directly into humans' hands, creating a cascading effect where alien coordination began to falter, internal miscommunications grew more frequent, and doubt spread among crews who had expected to face only primitive resistance, while instead they encountered a species that combined intellect, patience, technological sophistication, and moral clarity in ways that defied every stereotype, and by the third day, entire alien divisions were effectively neutralized or forced into retreat, their pride shattered, their confidence eroded, while humans continued to apply strategic pressure, neutralizing key vessels with minimal losses, turning each confrontation into a lesson for the galaxy in how underestimated species could exact a toll far beyond their apparent capacity. And yet even as victory in the orbital theater became increasingly clear, humans prepared for the next phase of the campaign, mindful that the Xelorians were a stubborn and adaptive enemy, and with diplomatic channels ready, humans broadcast signals offering terms that were simultaneously firm and measured, demonstrating that they were not merely conquerors but masters of strategy, willing to show mercy or enforcement in exact proportion to alien behavior, a psychological mastery that compounded the aliens' growing fear and respect. And as the day ended, the Xelorian admirals, battered, disoriented, and profoundly shaken, realized that they had underestimated a species whose patience, intelligence, coordination, and hidden strength were unmatched, and that humanity was not only capable of defending itself but of shaping the course of the galaxy in ways that would leave all who observed this conflict with the undeniable knowledge that underestimating Earth was the gravest mistake they could have made, a lesson that would echo across star systems and rewrite the way civilizations perceive humans, a species that, by remaining quiet and unassuming for so long, had concealed a power, strategic mind, and ethical clarity so profound that even the most arrogant interstellar empires could not ignore it, and as the Xelorian fleet limped away to regroup and reconsider, Earth's leaders and citizens alike understood that the war had already shifted in their favor, that the lesson had been delivered without unnecessary destruction, and that the galaxy had been forced to acknowledge, whether grudgingly or with fear, that humanity's true strength was only beginning to reveal itself. The aftermath of the first orbital clashes left the Xelorian command shaken. Their arrogance eroded as they realized that humanity was not only capable of defending itself, but doing so with a level of strategy, coordination, and foresight that exceeded anything they had encountered in known space. And as alien fleets retreated to regroup, Earth's forces used a lull to expand their control over critical sectors, deploying reconnaissance drones that mapped the vulnerabilities of the enemies. Systems while simultaneously reinforcing planetary defenses, ensuring that no further attacks could gain the momentum that the Xelorians had initially anticipated, and while alien admirals debated the lessons of their miscalculations, human commanders coordinated seamlessly across orbital stations, surface facilities, and deep underground bunkers, sharing real-time intelligence, analyzing enemy behavior, and predicting likely strategies. Their decisions a blend of algorithmic computation and human instinct honed over decades of preparation and centuries of cultural memory that emphasized patience, resilience, and adaptability. And the humans did not stop at merely defending. They began subtle offensive maneuvers designed to test the limits of the Xelorian fleet, sending small, agile craft into contested space to probe weak points, disable supply lines, and force alien commanders to reveal their tactical thinking, all while maintaining overwhelming strategic advantage and minimizing casualties, demonstrating a level of operational sophistication that left the Xelorian confused and increasingly desperate, as every attempt to regroup or retaliate was anticipated, countered, and sometimes even reproposed by human forces, turning alien aggression into human advantage. And beyond the immediate theater of conflict, humans had already begun to secure alliances with neighboring species that had previously been neutral or oppressed, offering protection and technology in a measured, principled way that further destabilized the Xelorian influence in the region. And as humans demonstrated that their capabilities extended beyond brute force, combining diplomacy, intelligence, and ethical strategy, the alien fleets began to fracture under pressure, commanders questioning each other, crews losing confidence, and a slow, creeping sense of panic spreading through the ranks as they realized that the species they had thought easy to conquer was redefining the rules of engagement entirely. And while the aliens struggled to respond, humans deployed experimental technologies previously hidden from galactic scrutiny, vessels capable of manipulating gravitational fields to disable engines, automated drones that could infiltrate and disrupt command systems, and energy-based weapons that neutralized threats without causing excessive destruction. A combination of measured restraint and overwhelming power that both protected humanity and communicated a warning to the galaxy that Earth was not a planet to be trifled with. And as the human orbital fleets moved into these new positions, the Xelorians found themselves trapped in a network of tactical precision. Every attempted breakout or counterstrike met with predictive responses, as humans leveraged their understanding of alien psychology and strategy to anticipate decisions before they were made. A level of foresight that disoriented the enemy and eroded morale further, while on Earth, the civilian population watched the broadcast of human coordination with awe and confidence, understanding that their species' capacity for innovation, discipline, and strategic thought had reached a scale previously unimaginable, and as humans extended their influence into the outer regions of the Sol system, they began to implement psychological strategies alongside physical defenses, projecting signals, energy displays, and communication patterns that emphasize calm control, ethical restraint, and undeniable strength, leaving the Xelorian leadership increasingly paranoid, their confidence shattered by the realization that Earth's species was not merely defending itself but subtly demonstrating its capability to shape the broader galactic order. And as days turned into weeks, the humans gradually tightened their grip, not through reckless aggression but through precise, measured maneuvers that maximized impact while minimizing unnecessary conflict, neutralizing isolated enemy units, securing strategic resources, and revealing the depth of Earth's intelligence, networks, and technological advancement, a combination of foresight, preparation, and ethical clarity that causes Xelorians to question every prior assumption about human civilization, their patience and restraint now recognized as a weapon more formidable than lasers or missiles, and in diplomatic channels, humans projected confidence and strategic clarity, offering terms that were firm yet rational, signaling to allies and adversaries alike that their species was capable of both destruction and mercy in exact proportion to the behavior of others. And while alien commanders scrambled to adapt, they discovered that every attempt to predict human behavior was met with adaptive counters, improvisation built upon foresight, and a calm discipline that had been cultivated over generations, demonstrating that humanity's strength was as much cultural and moral as it was technological. And by the third week of sustained engagement, Xelorian fleets were fragmented, command structures compromised, and morale collapsing, while humans, ever precise, used the chaos to further consolidate their advantage, securing not only their solar system but also demonstrating to neighboring species that Earth was capable of protection, rescue, and decisive intervention. And as the aliens realized that their initial assumptions had been catastrophically wrong, they faced the undeniable truth that humanity, long underestimated, possess a combination of patience, ingenuity, tactical brilliance, and ethical reasoning that no interstellar power could easily overcome, and that every move they had made against Earth had played directly into the hands of a species that had mastered both technology and strategy, forcing the galaxy to acknowledge that the humans were no longer a minor species to be dismissed, but a force whose full capabilities were only beginning to be revealed, a lesson that would echo throughout the stars for generations to come. By the fourth week of conflict, it had become painfully clear to the Xelorian leadership that humanity was not merely defending its home world but actively reshaping the terms of engagement across the entire Sol system and beyond, as humans began extending their operational reach with precision, launching stealth reconnaissance missions into previously contested sectors, mapping enemy positions, supply lines, and command nodes, all while maintaining orbital superiority and ensuring that no alien vessel could maneuver freely without encountering calculated resistance, and the humans' ability to coordinate across multiple theaters of engagement astonished both their allies and their enemies, as tactical decisions were made in seconds based on live data, simulations, and predictive modeling, with human commanders blending intuition and analytical reasoning in a way that left the Xelorians struggling to comprehend how a species they had assumed primitive could operate with such foresight and coherence. And while humans prepared for deeper incursions into contested space, they continued to demonstrate remarkable restraint, neutralizing threats without unnecessary destruction, disabling engines, scrambling communications, and employing non-lethal but highly effective countermeasures that showcase their control over every aspect of the battlefield. And as alien admirals met in emergency councils, they struggled to formulate a strategy that could respond to the humans' adaptive approach. Every plan they proposed anticipated and countered almost instantly by Earth forces, revealing weaknesses in alien tactics that had never been exposed before. And in the midst of this chaos, human diplomats simultaneously projected calm authority, sending messages across galactic channels that emphasized their capability for both protection and decisive action, reinforcing the idea that humanity was a species to be respected, feared, and, if necessary, reckoned with. And as humans, coordinated with neighboring civilizations that had long suffered under Xelorian influence, offering aid, technology, and strategic counsel, they demonstrated not only their military superiority but also a moral clarity and vision for stability in the region, a combination that further destabilized the alien command structure and eroded confidence among crews who had expected easy victory. And as orbital and surface engagements continued, humans revealed new technological innovations, including adaptive shield systems that rendered many alien weapons ineffective, modular drones capable of infiltrating and disabling key systems, and ships designed for rapid deployment and extreme maneuverability, allowing humanity to respond instantly to any threat, turning what had begun as defensive measures into a series of proactive maneuvers that systematically dismantled the Xelorian fleet's cohesion. And while the aliens struggled to adapt, they found that each countermeasure deployed by humans had been anticipated, every maneuver calculated with both efficiency and foresight, highlighting the depth of human planning and ingenuity, as engineers on Earth monitored the battlefield in real time, adjusting energy outputs, weapon calibrations, and fleet formations to maintain the upper hand, ensuring that every engagement favored humanity without risking unnecessary collateral damage. And beyond the immediate theaters of combat, humans also began to exert influence in broader galactic politics, subtly supporting neutral species, establishing communication networks, and projecting power in ways that discouraged opportunistic attacks, signaling that Earth was no longer a passive planet but a central actor in interstellar affairs. And as the alien fleets grew increasingly desperate, they attempted uncoordinated strikes, only to be met with countermeasures that exploited their disorganization, turning each attack into an opportunity for humans to weaken enemy cohesion, capture or disable ships, and project dominance without escalation, while the Xelorian command's morale crumbled under the realization that the species they had assumed easy to conquer was demonstrating not only technological superiority but moral and strategic sophistication, capable of protecting itself, allies, and even enemy non-combatants with precision. And as weeks passed, humans expanded orbital control and began securing key jump points to other star systems, creating chokeholds that forced alien forces into predictable paths where they could be contained, disrupted, or captured, while simultaneously projecting power in a way that encouraged diplomacy and stability, emphasizing that their strength was measured, calculated, and deliberate. And as the Xelorian admirals faced the growing reality of their mistakes, they discovered that humans had not only mastered space combat, but had built intelligence and surveillance networks so extensive that no action went unnoticed, no misstep unpunished, and that even the smallest offensive maneuver by the alien could be turned to human advantage, a realization that spread panic and fear among crews and officers alike. And in response, humanity continued its campaign with surgical precision, applying pressure without unnecessary destruction, demonstrating that the full scope of human strength was as much about judgment, restraint, and ethical clarity as it was about technological advancement. And as the aliens attempted to retreat or reorganize, they encountered a series of human blockades and ambushes designed to systematically dismantle their operational capacity, leaving them no choice but to accept that the planet they had attacked thinking it was weak was now an unstoppable force capable of shaping galactic events, controlling the battlefield, and forcing even the most powerful species to reconsider their assumptions about Earth. And by the end of the fourth week, the message was undeniable. Humanity had revealed its hidden power, its patience, and its strategic brilliance, demonstrating that restraint, intelligence, and moral clarity were as deadly as any weapon, and the galaxy, for the first time, understood that underestimating Earth was the gravest mistake a civilization could make, a lesson that would echo across systems and generations. And as humans prepared for the next phase of operations, they did so with confidence, knowing that their combination of technology, strategy, coordination, and moral purpose had fundamentally altered the balance of power, and that the species who had attacked thinking it was easy would soon realize that the cost of underestimating humanity was far greater than they had ever imagined. With the Xelorian forces reeling from repeated setbacks, humanity shifted from defensive operations to carefully measured offensive maneuvers, extending beyond the Sol system to secure nearby star lanes and protect vulnerable allies who had long suffered under alien influence. And as human ships moved into these contested sectors, the alien commanders quickly realized that their previous assumptions about Earth's technological and tactical capabilities were catastrophically wrong, because humans not only anticipated their movements, but also orchestrated coordinated strikes that disrupted supply lines, disabled jump points, and neutralized key command vessels without unnecessary collateral damage, demonstrating a mastery of strategic foresight combined with ethical precision that left the Xelorians unable to effectively counteract. And while humans projected power across multiple systems, they maintained rigorous communication and coordination across vast distances, using advanced relays, predictive algorithms, and a decentralized command structure that allowed for rapid adaptation, ensuring that every engagement was advantageous and every risk calculated, while alien fleets, forced into reactionary postures, scrambled to organize, only to find that humans had already anticipated nearly every option, turning potential threats into controlled encounters where human forces could dictate outcomes. And as the first major extrastellar engagement unfolded, humans revealed innovations in stealth technology, energy shielding, and adaptive weapon systems, allowing their vessels to strike precisely and then withdraw before retaliation, while simultaneously coordinating with allied species to secure critical resource nodes, build defensive perimeters, and provide humanitarian support, creating both a military and moral superiority that further demoralized the Xelorians. And as human commanders monitored alien behavior, they implemented adaptive strategies. that incorporated alien learning patterns, psychological tendencies, and cultural behaviors, turning the enemy's intelligence gathering into a liability and reinforcing the humans' ability to control the flow of conflict across multiple fronts, while the aliens attempted desperate measures, deploying experimental weaponry in erratic formations, only to find that each maneuver had been anticipated, countered, or neutralized, leaving their fleets fragmented and their command structures in disarray. And as the humans continued a methodical campaign, they also employed diplomatic pressure, sending carefully measured signals to neutral or opportunistic species, demonstrating both strength and a willingness to protect those who might be exploited, further isolating the Xelorians and eroding any potential alliances, while Earth's population watched from orbit and planetary facilities, understanding that humanity's combination of patience, strategy, and moral clarity had turned what might have been a simple defensive war into a demonstration of interstellar mastery, a calculated projection of power that was precise, restrained, and overwhelming, forcing the galaxy to recognize that humans were capable of controlling both the battlefield and the broader political environment. And as the weeks progressed, humans executed a series of precision strikes that disabled alien command hubs, severed communication lines, and forced key Xelorian vessels into retreat or surrender, each engagement reinforcing the lesson that Earth's species was far beyond the initial estimates of their enemies. And while alien admirals struggled to maintain cohesion, human forces coordinated across multiple fronts, ensuring that no opportunity for containment, disruption, or leverage was missed, blending offensive capability with intelligence gathering, and demonstrating a level of tactical mastery that left every observer, friend or foe, in awe. And in the midst of these operations, humans also prioritized rescue and protection missions, evacuating civilians, providing aid to allied species, and neutralizing threats to those who had previously been marginalized or oppressed, showing that their strength was as much ethical and cultural as it was technological. And as these coordinated operations unfolded, the Xelorian fleets faced mounting losses, dwindling morale, and increasing confusion, unable to comprehend a species that could combine foresight, adaptability, and ethical decision-making with such precision and patience, while humans, calm and deliberate, maintained control over the timing, scale, and impact of every engagement, turning every potential disadvantage into opportunity. And as the aliens attempted increasingly desperate measures, they found that humanity had anticipated their desperation, creating traps, countermeasures, and tactical opportunities that further dismantled alien cohesion, all while demonstrating to the galaxy that the human species' mastery of space, strategy, and ethics was unmatched. And by the end of these extrastellar engagements, the Xelorians were forced to accept that every underestimation they had made had led them directly into the humans' meticulously planned operations, leaving them weakened, demoralized, and aware that humanity had not only defended its homeworld but reshaped the balance of power across multiple star systems, signaling to every civilization that Earth's species was not to be challenged lightly. And as human fleets returned to regroup and prepare for the next phase of operations, their success was measured not in wanton destruction but in strategic advantage, control of critical sectors, and the irreversible lesson delivered to the galaxy. The species they attacked thinking it was easy was a force capable of overwhelming strategy, moral clarity, and technological brilliance, a combination that ensured that humanity's true strength was not only revealed but respected, feared, and unlikely to ever be underestimated again. By the sixth week of the campaign, it was painfully evident to every Xelorian commander that their initial assumptions about humanity had been catastrophically wrong, as Earth's forces not only maintained control of the Sol system, but had begun dictating the pace and location of engagements across neighboring star systems, and while alien fleets attempted desperate maneuvers to regain lost ground, they encountered human strategies that were simultaneously predictive, adaptive, and ruthlessly efficient, as humans employed stealth reconnaissance, advanced electronic warfare, and precision orbital strikes to disable key vessels and infrastructure, turning every alien initiative into an opportunity for tactical advantage, and the humans' ability to coordinate across multiple fronts, combining orbital, surface, and extrastellar operations, demonstrated a level of strategic sophistication that the Xelorians could not hope to match, as human command centers monitored, predicted, and responded to enemy movements in real time, blending algorithmic computation with human intuition to anticipate decisions, exploit weaknesses, and neutralized threats with minimal losses, while simultaneously projecting calm authority and restraint that both intimidated the enemy and reassured allies. And in the midst of these operations, humanity revealed technological innovations that further destabilized the Xelorians, including adaptive energy shields, rapid deployment drones capable of infiltrating and disabling key command systems, and ships engineered for extreme maneuverability and rapid response, allowing humans to strike precisely, withdraw, and then redeploy in multiple theaters simultaneously, all while maintaining a coherent command and control structure that ensured unity of purpose and flawless execution. And as the Xelorians struggled to adapt, internal communication breakdowns, loss of morale, and operational confusion spread through their fleets, compounding the effectiveness of human campaigns. While Earth's diplomats leverage these advantages to build alliances, provide support to neighboring civilizations, and project influence in ways that stabilize contested regions and further undermine alien authority, and as humans coordinated large-scale offensives, combining targeted strikes with rescue and protection operations for civilian populations, the ethical and strategic dimensions of their campaign became evident, demonstrating that the human species' power was not measured only in weaponry or ships but in foresight, judgment, and moral clarity. And while alien forces attempted increasingly erratic countermeasures, humans anticipated and neutralized each move, exploiting gaps, creating traps, and seizing initiative in every engagement, leaving the Xelorian leadership desperate, fragmented, and incapable of mounting coherent resistance. And as humans extended their operations deeper into contested space, they secured critical jump points, communication relays, and resource hubs, effectively controlling both the strategic and tactical landscape of the theater, while simultaneously protecting allies and ensuring minimal collateral damage, a combination of dominance, precision, and ethical restraint that left the galaxy in awe. And as alien fleets faced repeated defeats, the psychological impact on their crews became as significant as the physical losses, morale shattered by the realization that humanity's combination of technology, strategy, and moral discipline was unmatched, leaving commanders paralyzed, unable to issue effective orders, while human forces continued to exploit every weakness, demonstrating that Earth's species had not only defended itself but was capable of shaping the balance of power across multiple star systems. A strategic and moral victory that redefined the Xelorians' understanding of warfare and interstellar diplomacy, and as humans prepared for the climactic phases of engagement, they consolidated orbital control, strengthened defensive perimeters, and ensured that every potential alien counterattack could be detected, anticipated, and neutralized, projecting an image of unassailable strength while still offering measured opportunities for diplomacy or surrender. And the aliens, increasingly desperate, attempted last-ditch strikes, deploying experimental weapons and risky formations, only to have each maneuver countered by humans who anticipated their desperation, exploiting gaps and turning aggression into disadvantage, systematically dismantling alien cohesion and operational capability, while simultaneously demonstrating to the galaxy that humanity's strength was not only tactical and technological but cultural, ethical, and strategic, a combination that ensured that no civilization could approach Earth without acknowledging its full capacity. And by the end of the 6th week, the Xelorian fleets were in retreat, fragmented, and demoralized, their command structures crippled, while humanity's forces remained organized, coordinated, and prepared for the final phase of operations, having demonstrated with clarity, precision, and foresight that the species they attacked thinking it was easy had revealed its true strength, a blend of intellect, adaptability, ethical restraint, and tactical brilliance that ensured Earth would no longer be underestimated, that the galaxy had learned a costly lesson, and that humanity had not only survived but established its dominance, ready to dictate the terms of interstellar engagement with a combination of measured force, strategic foresight, and moral clarity that would echo through the stars for generations, signaling that any species who underestimated humans would face consequences far beyond mere defeat. And as a final movement toward decisive engagement began, humans prepared to deliver the ultimate demonstration of their capabilities, ensuring that the Xelorians and any observers would understand fully that the attack they had once assumed would be easy had triggered a force they could neither predict nor withstand, a species whose hidden potential had now been fully revealed, unstoppable and resolute. The final phase of humanity's campaign against the Xelorians unfolded with a precision and clarity that left the galaxy in awe, as humans prepared to deliver the ultimate demonstration of their capabilities, a culmination of decades of preparation, centuries of cultural patience, and centuries-long strategies of observation, adaptation, and restraint. And as the Xelorian fleet scrambled to mount a final defense, they quickly realized that every possible maneuver, every potential retreat, and every contingency had already been anticipated by human forces, who now control both the strategic and tactical landscape across the Sol system and neighboring star systems. And while alien commanders attempted desperate coordination, human ships, drones, and orbital platforms executed synchronized operations that disabled engines, disrupted communications, and neutralized key vessels, all with minimal loss to humanity's forces, demonstrating a mastery of efficiency, ethics, and effectiveness that the Xelorians could neither comprehend nor counter. And as human fleets advanced, they combined force with diplomacy, sending calculated communications that offered surrender or cooperation to alien factions, presenting the choice between peaceful resolution under human oversight or inevitable defeat, a moral and strategic leverage that underscored the combination of strength, wisdom, and ethical clarity that defined humanity. And as the alien crews faced the reality of their situation, morale collapsed further, command structures disintegrated, and confusion spread through fleets that had once believed themselves invincible, while humans maintained calm coordination, using predictive algorithms, real-time intelligence, and instinctive tactical judgment to guide every engagement, turning every attempted counterattack into a situation where the aliens were trapped by their own errors and overconfidence. And in parallel, humans extended protection and support to allied species, securing systems previously dominated by the Xelorians, reinforcing alliances, and demonstrating that their strength was not only destructive but protective, strategic, and principled, a combination that reshaped perceptions of interstellar power, morality, and governance. And as the decisive battles continued, humanity revealed the full extent of its technological innovations, including ships capable of near-instant maneuvering, adaptive energy shields that rendered conventional alien weaponry ineffective, and drones that could infiltrate and disable capital ships without unnecessary destruction, ensuring that every strike was effective and every opportunity leveraged for maximum strategic advantage, while demonstrating restraint and ethical clarity. And as the alien fleets faltered, humans orchestrated a final series of operations that isolated remaining combat vessels, neutralized command hubs, and secured critical jump points, effectively removing any remaining options for coordinated Xelorian resistance. And as surrender signals began to flow from scattered alien divisions, human forces maintained a careful balance of authority and restraint, offering terms that emphasized stability, protection, and accountability, ensuring that victory was not only total but morally and strategically unassailable. And while humans had a capacity for overwhelming destruction, they chose to demonstrate their superiority through calculated control, foresight, and decisive action rather than wanton violence, reinforcing to the galaxy that humanity's strength was rooted not only in technology and tactics, but in intelligence, patience, and ethical judgment. And as the last Xelorian capital ships were either disabled, captured, or forced into permanent retreat, the broader galactic community witnessed the culmination of Earth's long-hidden potential, a force that had been underestimated, dismissed, and mocked, yet had emerged fully prepared, disciplined, and unstoppable. And the final communications from Human Command emphasized a message that resonated across all species. Earth would defend itself, its allies, and its principles, but it would not be rash, it would not be cruel, and it would not be underestimated. And as the Xelorian remnants retreated beyond human-controlled sectors, humbled and chastened, the galaxy finally understood the lesson that centuries of human patience and hidden preparation had delivered, that underestimating humanity was a fatal error, one that reshaped the balance of power, forged new alliances, and established Earth as a force whose technological, strategic, and moral clarity could not be ignored. And as humans consolidated control, repaired systems, and ensured security for their allies, the lasting impact of the campaign became clear. The species that had been attacked thinking it was easy had demonstrated that intelligence, patience, adaptability, and ethical resolve could overcome arrogance and aggression, rewriting every expectation of what humanity was capable of. And the celebrations, strategic assessments, and diplomatic negotiations unfolded across the Sol system, humans quietly continued to monitor the broader galaxy, prepared to defend, guide, and protect when necessary, secure in the knowledge that their strength had been revealed, their capabilities acknowledged, and their presence firmly established, a warning and a promise to every civilization that would dare underestimate Earth again. And in the final moments, as the remnants of the Xelorian forces withdrew into distant space, they carried with them a lesson written not only in defeat but in awe. Humanity, patient, restrained, and brilliantly strategic, had emerged victorious, not just by force of arms, but by foresight, adaptability, and an unshakable moral and intellectual resolve that ensured they would never again be treated as an easy target. And as humans looked to the stars, they knew that their place in the galaxy had been secured, their strength recognized, and their story etched into the annals of interstellar history as a species that proved the universe had misjudged them at its peril, a species whose true power had finally been revealed to all.